everybody. Welcome to the 28-day series celebrating Black History Month through Black women entrepreneurs. Today, we did a various amount of roundtable discussions with several Black women who are in business. This initiative is through Black Women in Excellence. Black Women in Excellence has been established since 2020, and I work with 67 Black women entrepreneurs. And I'm excited to bring this initiative for Black History Month 2023. You're gonna see, dynamic Black women who have functional, viable, sustainable businesses. You're gonna hear our experiences, our barriers, and what the economy is benefiting from us, along with some of our issues, some things that we'd like to see from the financial institutions, from organizations, and better, equipped with support from our community. So come with me, join me, and enjoy this initiative for 28-day series celebrating Black History Month through Black women entrepreneurs. Welcome to the 28-day series celebrating Black History Month through Black entrepreneurs. Welcome, you guys. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. This is something that I've done last year. I didn't do it to this magnitude. I just kind of did profiles, but this year I wanted to kind of do roundtables, discussions on certain topics and barriers we may face as Black women entrepreneurs. So I'm going to put a question out there.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to get your coffee ready or your water ready. First question I'm going to ask, do you feel being a Black woman business owner has a positive or negative impact of the growth and viability of your business? And how and why you feel that way?
There's a certain audience already out there for thrifting who purchase online thrifting. So I'm very new to this. And trying to penetrate into that market, which is predominantly, I feel, a white market, is a bit challenging being a Black woman because I don't have the connections already. So the marketing aspect and trying to penetrate those markets is a bit challenging for a Black woman, I do find.
Why do you think it's challenging? Is it just because you're a Black woman and the market is saturated with our white counterparts? Or we're just, as Black women, we're not, equipped to come into this new market? Because I like thrifting, but I wouldn't know jack about starting a thrifting business.
And that could be it as well. I love thrifting, and so I'm working my passion.
Yeah.
Trying to penetrate the market online is challenging. So you need the connections. And basically, I think that's what it really is. Going out and selling my stuff, there's not an issue. Yeah. But it's the online aspect, and so it's the connections you need to make with the people who are already there. Because I'm understanding that I may be the first Black woman who is thrifting online.
Absolutely.
So.
I haven't seen it before.
Me either. I've been looking and I haven't found it either. So,
which is great.
I think so too. I'm the first.
Innovative,
Here I am.
yeah.
I'm pushing through. I'm really pushing through it.
You're doing well. I like your thrifts. I go to all your pop-up shops, and I be walking away with name brand and name brand. Oh yeah, Dolce & Gabbana perfume product. Like she gets it.
Yeah, I get it.
Oh yeah, you gotta check it out. She'll do one big one in the spring.
Okay. I agree though. I think Halifax sometimes, or this, like our community here is like an older community in terms of like there's generations of people here. And so what I find is difficult sometimes breaking into circles or people being open to trying something new.
Yeah.
Because what people do is they go to the same places, they connect with the same people, the same groups. So you're right, like penetrating those kind of communities is, I find, one of the more difficult things. I like being in the area that I'm in because it's very diverse, like in terms of, culturally, ages, everything. So thankfully we're seeing like a different group of people, but I'm finding it's still hard to break into certain networks and certain organizations and kind of get our name out there that way. But on the other side of it, the positive aspect to being a Black woman entrepreneur right now is it's probably the best time ever since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Like we have so many opportunities, so many chances to access funding, so much support. There's a lot of organizations that are wanting to support us. But then, of course, it's the how are you actually supporting us? How can we access the opportunities? Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. My biggest thing, you know, when I started Black Women in Excellence was because it was our time.
Yeah.
And I felt it. I knew it was our time. We're not going to get this opportunity again to be able to elevate, celebrate, and capitalize on the opportunities as Black women entrepreneurs. But then on the other hand, you know, we're getting so saturated again with all the research that's going on with regards to Black businesses. Everybody who says they want to support, they want to help, they want to be our allies. But what is that true definition? Is it really showing? Is it coming to the forefront, or is it just for talk? So, I mean, I guess that's another topic for another day, because I could go on that's a big one to go on to. But for me, you know, watching entrepreneurs coming, especially Black women, coming in since Black Lives Matter movement started, it's a bonus for us. So, I mean, whatever opportunity we can do to do what we got to do, let's do it.
Absolutely.
Well, I really appreciate the conversation. I always want to ask certain questions, so I was really excited to have you guys on with me. And I hope you guys come back again for an additional segment to 28-day series.
All right.
Well,
Thank you for
so
having
much.
us.
You're welcome. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Hello, welcome to the 28-day series celebrating Black History Month through Black women entrepreneurs here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And I'm welcoming Tiara Smith, Shyla Hamilton, and Carlette Gray with me this morning. And thank you guys for showing up.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Happy
Thanks
to be
For
here.
having me.
Oh, I like that. Happy to be here. She's so proper. We are going to have a conversation here today. It's not going to be nothing intense. Pretend that we're just talking as a bunch of Black women and to try to overcome some of the things that we're dealing with as Black women entrepreneurs. What are some of the barriers you have or are facing, and are those barriers attributed to systematic racism and discrimination or unconscious biases?
It was hard for me to get a lender to believe in me and believe in my vision. Until I came across a lender after pounding the pavement for 6 months. A lender finally gave me a chance through partnership with you to actually fund me and be able to help me get my business up and going. So I feel like being something we deal with as being Black, they always look at us as bad credit, or they're not going to pay their bills or anything. And I have a really good job outside of me trying to run a business, and it took me a while, but they gave me a chance, and I'm happy. But I feel like that was one of the barriers I faced, and being a woman, going in there and looking at me funny. Different people were looking at me funny, like, is she really gonna pay this back? Is her business gonna be really viable? Am I gonna be able to get my money back? Because that's all they want. They want to know if the money they give you, are you gonna be able to give it back?
Absolutely. Do you think that if there wasn't a partnership with Black Women in Excellence with that financial institution, you would have felt confident enough to go in there by yourself and ask for money and receive that money?
No. I felt, because I've gotten the door slammed in my face so many times through bigger lender banks, and telling me in emails, well, no, maybe apply in 2 years or work and save some money, and just telling me all the stuff I knew, but it wasn't helping me get my business up and going. So if I didn't have that partnership.
It's bad for business. Carla, you have any overview on that one?
Whatever I make comes in, I spend it to buy product and stuff like that, so.
Do you think that if you had an opportunity to have access to capital, or someone gave you a loan, or an investor gave you money, would you take the opportunity in doing so?
Most definitely. It would help me a lot with product and just different things where I see my business going, like it would help in that way.
So my question to you would be, why haven't you went that route yet?
Because I don't really know where to start.
Okay. Well, Black
But
Women
now-
in Excellence, yes.
That's why I enrolled for your program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so.
Tiara, what are some of your barriers as a Black woman in business?
I find if you don't know what you're going into before you start, then you shouldn't go through something without asking and getting the proper channels before you just go into a bank and asking for a loan. Know some of the verbiage that they're talking when you go into the bank, because some of that time when you go in, the stuff is way over your head and you're like, what are they talking about? What are they talking about?
Absolutely.
So I find when I took Tia's class, it gave me the mind frame of knowing what I needed to know before I actually go into the bank to apply for a loan.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. And let me tell you guys, this is not scripted at all. They didn't even see these questions before they sat at this table with me today. I was actually speaking to someone yesterday because I am looking at doing an actual manual, with regards to terminology, Afrocentric based, that we can understand. So you'll have the proper term, when it comes to businesses. And then you'll have how we would say it in our culture, in our hoods, in our communities, like how we talk, how we speak. Because that is one of the biggest issues is when you're going to a bank or you're approaching an investor with your pitch, there are certain questions they'll ask and they're gonna use those big words that you may not know. And I think that's one of the biggest barriers that a lot of Black businesses, not just women, so it ain't just a woman thing, a lot of Black businesses are not equipped with the verbiage, the terminology, to understanding. And what to bring.
If I didn't walk into that bank with all my ducks in a row, all my papers, my business plan booming, page, picture, like I feel like he would have looked at me like, what's this girl in here for?
You're wasting my time.
You're wasting my time. But he was so happy that I came with everything. He didn't even ask me to send him anything. He's like, you literally have everything here.
Wow.
Like
that's
everything
good.
there.
Yeah. And I mean, I am.
And I learned that through.
Yeah, I am really bad when it comes to, I shouldn't say forcing, but I really am persistent when it comes to developing a solid business plan, 3-year financial projections. And before you can do all that, you have to do an intense market research, before you can even go into that. And I just want to mention, Inova Credit Union has been wonderful working with Thomas and Carla. So shout out to Inova Credit Union up on Almond Street. I guess, I could do a second question, but I think I'm going to bring in someone else on this second question. Okay, welcome back. We had to bring in another person onto the panel, do the little round table to get another perspective. So the question I'm going to ask is, social media makes entrepreneurship look so sexy. Would you say this is a true representation of how entrepreneurship looks and feels when it comes to Black women in business?
Well, I love your lives because sometimes you come on live just raw, just after after a regular day, and that's how we look most of the time. It's like no makeup, hair's a mess, we're just coming off a 12-hour day, or we've just been dealing with so much during the day. I think there is this perception that being an entrepreneur, you have a lot of time, you have a lot of people working for you, you have all this money. You might be probably the brokest you've ever been as an entrepreneur for a long time. Nobody works for you. You literally work for everybody. Everybody on your team, all your clients. So you really have to be, I think, prepared for that reality. Don't buy into the social media. Yeah. There's a whole other side of it. Yeah.
Totally agree. I feel like when it comes to social media, I see a lot of celebrities talk about entrepreneurship and starting businesses and getting their bags. They make it look so pretty, and I'm like, girl, now you didn't wake up today looking like this with these lashes and nails and your hair is all pressed out. You're just putting it on a show to make it seem like this is what it looks like. Right. You're not traveling whenever you want to travel. You're not taking vacations. You're missing time away from your family, your children, your husband, your partner. And people don't talk about it, so I do appreciate you saying my lives. Because I do go on my rants, as Shyla said earlier. I didn't do no rants this week.
She's good this week.
I'm good this week. But I do it because I like to talk about the realness of entrepreneurship, and especially when it comes to Black businesses and primarily Black women, because the facade that the social media puts out there, and even some other people who are in business as Black businesses, the facade they put out there is not really the truth. And then you have the youth that are coming in think it's going to be easy when it's not.
And that's what I feel social media will bring a presence, and then people look at it and be like, oh, that's so easy. She made this much money. Yeah. Like, oh my God. But you don't really know, behind closed doors, some people are depressed. Some people are broke. Some people don't even sleep. They're running on no sleep, Red Bull after Red Bull. Overtired, you know what I mean, to run a business, to try to get it up and running. So I feel like you have to to listen to the people that are on social media that come in raw and live and maybe are really blunt and you don't really like what they have to say versus someone who's, like you said, all dressed up, lashes, nails done, hair done, sitting there going, buy my lip gloss.
Yeah.
It's not that serious. It's not that simple.
I mean, I'm all done up today, but I do want Black women to come to Black Women in Excellence. Even though I'm done up today, it's not an everyday thing. If you go to my Instagram or anywhere else, you'll see T don't always look like this. The representation for me, it drives me nuts, and that's why I talk about it a lot, because entrepreneurship is not easy. I could probably count, or I'll probably lose count at this point, how many events that I've missed through my family, or how many, cancellations I do on my children for things I promised to do with them. And I know, like Carlette does, she's known for the strawberries, chocolate covered infused strawberries with alcohol and all that jam. That's what she does. But I know for you, I thought about you guys in the food industry during the holidays, because having those big orders come in, you and Halifax Charcuterie, my daughter, Luxury Chocolate Bombs, I know they were like overwhelmed and swamped. And it wasn't a good, people are like, oh, well, you're making money. Having that balance sucks.
But
Do you wanna
sometimes
talk
the
about
money
that?
is not, sometimes the money is like, it's not worth your family experience either. I know the first year I started, Christmas Day, I worked until like Christmas Eve, like the afternoon. I didn't plan it that way, it just happened. I had so much on my plate. Mom's like, never again.
Yeah.
But after that, I figured it out. I learned balance, I learned how much I can actually take on, how much, when I need to stop and cut back and stuff like that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, but yeah, we have our high seasons and our low seasons, and our holidays where you usually spend it with family and friends, those are now our high seasons.
Yes. Right.
Absolutely. One thing before we end, one thing that you would tell an entrepreneur who wants to start a business today, what should they know?
Figure out the problems to small solutions first, because if you can't do that, you're not going to be able to figure out solutions for the bigger problems when you have a team, when you have a space,
Absolutely.
when you have all these things. So start small, pace yourself, and then build a network, because these spaces are so valuable. Like if I didn't have you guys to talk to about balancing business, balancing kids, balancing families, like you would burn out so fast. But knowing that it's not just me, that we're all kind of experiencing it together, that's probably the biggest reason why I'm still going, like, to be honest. Yeah.
Community.
Community network. What about you?
I would say make sure sometimes you have your family included in your business a little bit, because I find when I don't get the kids to help me do something, they feel like they're left out. So make everybody feel, just because it's just you have them to fall back on to help you as well as just yourself.
Okay, that's nice. And she doesn't mean bring your family in as partners in your business. She means have your family support you mentally, physically into your business. Have them be a part of it so they feel like as you grow, they're growing with you. Because I'm not about mixing family and business together. Shyla, what about you?
I feel like there's two things. I feel like when you're going into business, make sure it's something that you're passionate about. Don't just go into a business for money because you see it's like, oh, it's really lucrative, because you may not be passionate about it, so you may not give it your all.
That's a big one.
Right?
I wasn't expecting that one. Carlette, what about you?
Seek help.
Yeah.
Reach out to those around you that look like you, especially that have been through it before you. Because sometimes you just don't know. As a new entrepreneur, there's a lot of things I didn't know. So like to have people that I could reach out to and ask these questions to that can lead me and guide me in the right direction.
Absolutely. Perfect. Wow, I thank you guys for sitting with me today and having this chit chat. Hopefully I have you guys back again in the future, and thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, welcome to the 28-day series celebrating Black History Month through Black women entrepreneurs. So we are here today with Saitea, with Winnie, I'm gonna call you Winnie, not Wendelin, Winnie and Erica. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm excited to have the conversation flowing and popping and moving. My first question to you guys, do you feel being a Black woman in business located in the Maritimes does not give you as much leverage on the playing field as a Black woman in business in more popular provinces? such as Toronto, Ottawa, Ontario, Ottawa, Alberta, Montreal? Do you feel being in the Maritimes, you're not able to get what most?
I would say yes, because here in the Maritime is such a small playing field as compared to Toronto, where you have all the diversities of this, and we're just here in this little one Black community, you know what I mean? And then, to be honest, we have to have people like you come out to, break these glass ceilings to be able to, you know what I mean? To be able to kind of get up there where Toronto and Montreal is, where all the diversity of, the people and businesses are, where you expect that kind of stuff. We here, we don't.
Well, the reason I ask that is because we have the biggest Black community in all of Canada. Not Atlantic Canada, all of Canada. And I am continuously perplexed as to why Black businesses are not elevated on the scale of other provinces when we have the biggest Black community in all of Canada. As an investor, you going to say something, Taya?
Yeah, I was
Go
saying
ahead.
It's the support level. It's the fact that everybody, even though we have the largest Black communities, we don't have the largest amount of support.
Exactly, that's the biggest thing.
And most of our support usually comes from outside of the community, so that also makes a big difference in how you show up in the community. So
Exactly.
I agree. For you, Erica's a real estate investor. If you lived in a different province, do you think that you would have scaled your business quicker than you have?
Definitely. When I started my journey, a lot of the connections I made were in Ontario. They had, investors groups, women investor groups as well. In my industry, you don't see many women that, are in that industry. Online groups that were not in my province, right? So there's some now, but they're small. But yeah, just the support and just people knowing about it, I guess, so.
Well, what I would say to that is that you have to start something now. Because when you don't have something, you genuinely are, intrigued to start something because you're longing for it. So you end up starting an initiative. So just an idea for you. What about you? Like you have, a decorating company, events planning company, and that type of business can be all over Canada.
it definitely can.
It's huge. The industry is $1 million industry when it comes to, especially corporate events. Like it's huge. If you live, because you did live away at one point, and you come back home
To start the business back
home. But if you live somewhere else, do you feel that your business would be, profitable with larger profit margins today than it was last year if you didn't live
Definitely.
here?
Well, definitely more profitable if I was in, let's just say Ontario, because that's where I came from. But also, Ontario is one of the largest cities that we have, or provinces that we have in Canada. But definitely, like I look at other Black women, and I'm saying Black women specifically who are in the same industry as I am in Ontario, and they're thriving. And it's a lot of it has to do with who you know as well, and the connections that you make, right? And that, for God forbid, is not going to be all Black people. It's not going to be all Black corporates, because we don't have a lot of that here in Nova Scotia. And so you have to network with certain people, and that's why things like this, like your program, it's a godsend, because it gives us a chance to do that networking, both in and outside of our communities, right? And to bring in that, to drive in that business. But it's a lot of footwork that you got to do on your own too. It's a lot of stuff. And most of us who start our businesses are already working 9 to 5, so the time that we give to our businesses, it's kind of lacking, and so you don't put as much emphasis into what you could be doing, right? And then if you don't have the connections, you don't put the energy behind it, well,
it's going to show. It's going to show. That's one of my rants I always talk about. You get out of your business what you put in, and I know a lot of people work 9 to 5s, which is totally fine, because you have to get to a point where you can leave your 9 to 5 to really, grow your business and really concentrate on it. But for me, it's almost like I can't take the complaints of no one supported me, my business isn't doing well, I'm just gonna step back from it and reassess it. And I'm like, girl, stop that. Stop that. Like, no, we're not doing that right now. No matter how tired you are, because as an entrepreneur, you're always gonna be tired. I actually, have a memoir that's coming out and it's titled, I'll Sleep When I'm Dead, because I'm always tired. But there's so many things that I need to accomplish, as a woman, as a mother. Like I have goals that I want to achieve. But if I always complained about being tired and not doing that and then saying I have to do this and that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So I always tell people, what you put in your business is what you're gonna get out.
Exactly.
You gotta attend networking events. That is a big thing. Like, there's none when it comes to Black women. We already know that, Black businesses. I think there's one that I went to this year through BBI, and that was their Christmas holiday celebration. Other than that, I've been at other networking events where I'm the only Black person, let alone Black woman. I am always walking in as the Black speck. Like you see a sea of white, and I'm that Black speck with pink lips and crazy eyelashes and showing all shape and body. So I'm different. It's true, because I don't fit in with the crowd, but I find that it took me a while to get comfortable, but now when I go in, I own it. I'm not scared anymore. I don't have anxiety. I just go in, and most people already know who I am. But as you said, there's not enough Black businesses with corporates and investors and leaders here for us to just depend on that. We have to outsource to other communities.
Yeah, and that's the truth.
Isn't it sad?
It
though?
is. I got more opportunities to maybe partner with other organizations like myself from Ontario, more than here. Don't get me wrong. I have spoken with organizations here, and maybe it's because I'm new and upcoming that maybe they're kind of lack to want to partner with me, but to have another province that's doing kind of the same thing that I'm doing and see what I'm trying to do to accomplish through Empowerment for Hope, that is like, wow, it's a big step for me. I'm going to be going tomorrow into the prison.
Oh, what one?
Nova. So, yeah.
Memories. Memories. No, honestly, God, Nova is one of the jails throughout Canada that have more of the support systems and programs put in place than any other jail that's for females. So I just want to note that, but yeah.
So I'm excited.
You should be excited.
I am. It's part of my prison ministry, so yeah.
Oh, I wish I was there with you. Oh my God, I'd probably get anxiety walking in there again. And you know what's so funny? And I'm gonna say this on camera. I was asked to speak at Walmart last year about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I was at the Mumford Road Walmart, and I made a joke about it because the regional managers, there was a whole staff, it was a whole big thing. And they walked me to the back. And I said to them, oh my God, last time I've been here is when I got caught stealing lipstick. And you guys walked me to the back and the police come and got me. And they all looked at me and I was like, oh, real talk. It's a real true story. And they were just like, Tia. I was like, I keep it real. Like, that's just me. So if I ever walked into even Burnside again to speak to women or Nova, it would be like, shit, this is a different, I'm not coming here as, a prisoner or coming here as someone who did something bad. I'm coming to do something good. So congratulations on that, girl. Congratulations. Wow. Ontario is one of the, I find, even for me, I got a lot of partnerships and a lot of businesses. Nova Scotia, I think we're just so conservative, they can't see to what we're trying to do as Black women and Black businesses. They're just stuck on, trying to create a diverse culture within their corporate company rather than actually bring in diversity to help create that corporate culture. But that's another topic for another day because I can go on for 2-3 hours with that one. But you had any final thoughts on the question I asked? Any final words you want to say?
I just want to touch on the fact that you said something that my grandmother would say all the time because she would get up at the crack of dawn, and I'm talking 6 a.m., no job, just 6 a.m. to start whatever she had to start, but she'd be like, I'd be like, why are you up so early? Like, what, you on a job today? And she'd be like, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
My grandmother said to me.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is a thing in this Black community that they were hardworking women, and I think that drives a lot of us Black women to do what we want to do because of the fact that we have that the tenacity and the strength in us to want to go and do what you have to do, and be the mom, be the working mom, and do everything. Exactly. So
And after my launch, I took a leap of faith, and especially after I became on the board, the community health board, and left my job. Because it wasn't really doing anything for me. I'm okay. I'm okay. I know, and I really put time into this. Like I think in my head, oh my God, this is like this is your income. This is your baby. Like you have to do this. And in the same way that when I used to do other things, I'm just there for that because that's the only thing in my head. I'm still okay. Like financially, I'm going to be okay. But I took that leap of faith and just because I can't put the time into really do what I want to do through Empowerment for Hope by doing 10 hours and 12 hours for somebody else and then too tired. And by the time you wake up, it's almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You got to go back and So I just wanted to get, that.
I wouldn't say that I would press anybody to leave their 9 to 5, but if anybody knows me, I press people to leave their 9 to 5. I do because when you only have that one thing to rely on, you go freaking hard. You go so hard into that business because if you don't make any sales that day,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
you're absolutely fucked. You're screwed. Your kids ain't eating, your bills ain't getting paid. But when you have that cradle cushion of your job 9 to 5, you're kind of like, oh, I got the business as a side hustle and I have my 9 to 5, I'm good. But when you take that leap of faith and you go all the way in, I didn't take a leap of faith. I had no choice. No one was hiring a criminal, they weren't hiring someone who had criminal record. So I had no choice to start a business. But if I had to do it again, I would do a leap of faith and just so congratulations.
I had to do that for myself. No, and I'm proud that I did that, I still got my little cushion, but still at the end of the day, I'm really putting my time into doing this.
Congratulations on that one. Wow, thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys joining me today. As Winnie likes to say, we keep it real. When it comes to TI, I keep it 100% real. And some things people like you may not agree with. It doesn't stop me from saying it. Thank you again. Have a nice day. Hey everybody, welcome to the 28-day series celebrating Black History Month through Black women entrepreneurs. And joining us today is fantastic. Once again, this girl is always with me, Melissa, and we have Megan. So ladies, I appreciate you guys coming out on a good Saturday, especially in the snow, and joining me and having this conversation. I'm just gonna ask, basic question. Do you feel confident in approaching an investor or a bank to access capital for your business? If yes, how confident? And if no, why not? Who wants to jump in on that one?
I am a new startup, and I personally still don't feel that I am where I am confidence-wise to be able to go to a bank or an investor to ask for any bits of monies to help out with the business. So my comfortability is lacking, to say the least, but I am working on it, and I'm trying to get to where I need to be and stop playing the mental game that I'm playing with myself.
So it's a personal thing. So it's not something where you're not able to access support. It's really just a personal.
It's a personal thing on me that I have to stop playing a mental game with myself. And basically, sometimes, in a nutshell, what I'm doing is psyching myself out.
Yeah.
So I have to get over that and keep pushing forward.
Oh, absolutely. What about you, Megan? Because you do pitches. She does lots of pitches.
Yeah, I've pitched my life away in 2022. So I didn't really know how business credit worked. So I went to the bank to get a business account. And so I assumed that you got, business credit was brand new, when you get personal credit. It was like, oh, bet, I should get approved. My personal credit, not good. So I was like, oh, it'll be fine. So she's like, oh, when we open your business account, we apply for credit at the same time. So it's one hit. And I was like, okay, great. I also worked at a bank and didn't know this, which I felt a little bad about that. But she's like, so you're not approved for any business credit, but that's okay. She's like, your business accounts are still open. So I
I would say I'm not, I wouldn't say I lack confidence in approaching a bank for funding. I would just be more comfortable as a startup, as Melissa said, just because I know a lot of funding is not for startups. They want to see an established record of income. They want to see balanced income sheets. And I just got that this past week. I had enough data.
Which is great.
And
So
yes.
But you can go to the bank with your income statement.
Yes. So yes, but I would say I probably would be nervous though initially. Like if I knew for sure going in that like it wasn't going to be new credit, I probably wouldn't have. I'm like, don't run my credit for like business lending. Just open the accounts for me. I've been more comfortable talking to like a private investor. So if it was somebody like a charity, an organization, even a person, I would be way more comfortable with them because they don't have anything to lose. They're not a big corporation. There's nothing really tied to it. It's their money. They want to see it kind of, go to something good and make something of it. So I very strong, confident in one arena. I think we might have seen that but with the banks, it's a little more touch and go.
Yeah, I find that it's the bigger banks. The credit union that I work with are more lenient. They're really community-based. They want to see, businesses grow because it helps our economy. And primarily, again, shout out to Inova on Almond Street. I partnered with them, 10 months ago now, and we've had some amazing women be able to access capital from them as startups. And Thomas is a sweetheart. He made it really painless, and it was seamlessly done. How do you feel about it, Fantash? Because I know with you, Fantash has a brick and mortar. She's on Spring Garden Road in the professional building where Starbucks is. To be able to have that, you have to have access capital. Would you go back to, are you comfortable going again and again asking for money?
I'll always ask. I'll always at least ask. I'm not afraid to ask, especially when you've done it one time. Mm-hmm. You have all the documents that they ask you for. You already have it saved somewhere. So it's not about going and searching for all these things, because at the initial process, yes, very stripping, very frustrating, especially if you don't have the credit, especially if you don't have the financial records, if you don't have enough business, years in business to show what your projections are asking for. But once the initial process is done, then I'm fine going and asking banks, going and applying for grants, that kind of thing. But my issue comes. The issue is going to particular financial institutions and asking for the funding that is there for Black entrepreneurs, Black female entrepreneurs, which obviously I fit the criteria. And they have all this money allotted. So I'm thinking, okay, this will be an easier process than say, I went to a financial institution for regular funding. Mm-hmm. This is Black funding. It should be an easier process. I'm gonna go through it. But what I find is that it's the same process, very stripping, very difficult, if not more difficult, to apply for. They're still asking for the same criteria. They're not giving any leniency or consideration to the barriers that Black entrepreneurs are finding or are coming across. So what ends up happening is all this funding is there for Black women entrepreneurs.
It sits there, and it doesn't leave.
It doesn't leave, and the funding is just sitting there because we can't access it. So that's the biggest problem that I'm running into.
I totally agree with Fantash there. That's something that I said 2023, I'm going to be very, very intentional with these banks with that. Yeah. Sometimes I call it segregated money. I shouldn't say this term, but I do, because when it's called the Black Fund or Black Initiative Fund or the Black Experience, these terms make it feel like it's segregated money. Yeah. So if it's segregated money, screw it. Let's just capitalize on the segregated money. Right. But then if you do your research, because you must have done your research as financial institutions to be able to have this initiative, because you know that the data does not show that Black businesses are accessing credit, capital, or any of the above. So if you did your research, you know that we're facing barriers. We're not going to have assets when it comes to home equity assets. We're not going to have, financials, because, that's one of the barriers. Black businesses don't understand how to do financials. They're not, supported in the financial sector of their business. They don't know their back end. So things that you're asking for, you already know it's a barrier. So why continue to put this barrier in there? And it's like, oh, we got money for black businesses or black women, because there's a bank that has 3 different initiatives: women in business, black women or black businesses, and the governmental guaranteed loan fund for underrepresented individuals who are in business. But why are the barriers still there? It's no different. The segregated money is no different from the regular money. And that is frustrating. And it's something that needs to be addressed. And of course, Tia has the nerve. I have all the nerve to address it. I talk about things that most people don't want to talk about. But if we continue to be silent, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change.
Really, I know it's a huge responsibility, but for you to be in those spaces, because you're creating that space at the table for us to then be like, okay, so she's done it, so now
someone else is going to do
let me go
it. T was there, well, we can get in there too. And that's exactly, I tell people all the time, I do the things that no one else wants to do. No one else wants to continuously be uncomfortable at events, or no one else wants to be the only black woman or black person at, a conference or a summit or a symposium. Yeah. Who wants to put themselves through that traumatic experience over and over and over again? I do it because I just am a bad bitch, and I just will do it. Because for me, I've been through hell and back. So nothing really bothers me in that sense. And I have no problem. I like being the only. So that's why I'm always the person that does these new initiatives. The first this, the first that, because I'm usually the only anyways. But I find when, I go into these spaces and I create dialogue and I bring awareness to them, sometimes it's nice and sometimes it's not. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I put it right to them. It allows someone else to come in behind me. Yeah. There was a conversation, me and Fantash were at an event for breakfast a few weeks ago. Remember that conversation we had at the table? Mm-hmm. The gentleman across the table linked in me. Okay. And he was like, I listened to your conversation and I took heed to what you were saying. And, I've been through diversity, equity, inclusion training. Nothing compares to life experience, and I want to learn more. Can I take you out for lunch? So I didn't really know he was listening. Me and her were just talking, and I keep it real. And this guy is the top guy for a big foundation here, and I'm just like, ooh. So that's why you have to be authentic about yourself. Yeah. If I was just playing the, professional black woman and, being quiet and staying quiet, he would have never heard our conversation. And me and Fantash, when we talk, we keep it real. Yeah. We don't care who's really listening. We don't. Yeah. Well, how many black people whisper? Who can whisper as a black woman? I don't whisper. No, absolutely. Do you guys have any final thoughts on, that question? When it comes to building your confidence, or if you're looking at, going to an investor or, to a bank in the near future, do you have anything to build on this question, or last thoughts of the question?
I'll touch on what you just said. I think that's an important overall lesson. Like, what I took from that is that you don't know who's listening. And like,
girl, you don't.
Growing up, a lesson was like, you don't know who's watching you, but now I'm in business, like, you don't know who's listening to you. So having, like, being unapologetic, as you said, you ask the questions I'd want to ask, knowing I probably shouldn't be the one to ask them. And I'm grateful for that, because you have the leverage and the backing to ask those and to get an answer that you should be getting. So I always appreciate that, but that was a big highlight, that you don't know who's listening and who's willing to listen and who's willing to reach out. So that was a little
Yeah, Megan, thank you, because that shocked me when I got the message. I was like, shit, people be listening to us? Like, people are listening to the Black Girl Combos, but they are listening.
It's true. And then what you said my last combo, the question overall, is that it is segregated money. Because my thing is, like, I work at a bank, so I know how lending goes. I worked in sales and personal lending, so I know what they're looking for. So that's why I don't apply for credit unless I know I can get approved for it. But it's segregated money because, essentially, you said, it's not different money. You need the same criteria.
Exactly.
You need the same credit score, the same income, the same documentation. So it's not a program, it's a loan. It's just a loan with a different name. And I think, and my biggest fear and concern is that if enough people can't access it, because it's not that we aren't trying, it's just that it's not accessible. So if enough of us can't access it, are they going to do away with it? So that, like, my kids can't now go apply for it.
No, they're not going to do away with it, because I'm just going to bring it to them. Like, this is, here's the data. You know, and I ask a lot of financial institutions, and if you're listening and you're a part of a financial institution as a regional manager in the Maritimes, you already know TS is for data. To see how many Black businesses have applied for capital and how many have received it. How many Black women in business applied and how many received it. You know, and I look for data every 2 years. I ask the banks for the data. And the data hasn't grown since 2018.
Yeah, and it's the eligibility. Like I said, I know what's required, and I'm like, we don't meet the criteria. If we did, we would have applied for personal credit to fund it initially, and we can't. So it's not that people aren't there. It's that you need to change the eligibility. If these programs are for us, tailor it to us. The money's there. It's not. I always feel it's not your personal money. I'm a big person with them. It's like it's not coming out of your pocket. Why are you holding on so tight to it? What are you afraid of? Because like you said, we were talking up there, once you fund a business, that helps the local economy, the provincial economy, and the federal economy. This moves money throughout the entire economy. So what is the fear? What's the
ecosystem.
What's the no-go?
I spoke about this earlier. Ecosystem needs to be dismantled and rebuilt to benefit Black businesses. It is done intentionally to continue to keep us down. The ecosystem is not for Black businesses, nor did they ever think that Black businesses would be able to be sustainable or viable, and that's why it's not for us. But I love your statement, tailor it to us. So you're gonna see me do a rant probably
you need
tomorrow.
some inside information.
Yeah, a rant tomorrow or the next day about tailoring it to us. I'm gonna figure that out.
To touch on that, I would just like to say, to end it off, like with my personal issues and what Megan is saying, I'm working on myself to continue to surround myself around kinfolk, like-minded ladies, Black women in business, so I continue to have those supports that I need.
Yes, absolutely.
Because like I said to Megan out there, when I leave from this bubble, I am alone.
Oh, I know.
And it's scary. So I want to continue to immerse myself, and I want to encourage any other ladies that are starting in their business, like myself, still as a startup, just keep pushing. Try not to psych yourself out, and if you are, talk yourself out of it and just keep moving and keep pushing, because the support is there. Nobody, including ourselves, don't want to see us fail. So just keep going, because you will get there, as I believe that I will get there as well.
Yes, that's a great way of ending it. Oh, thank you, Melissa. Well, thanks everybody for joining us for a roundtable discussion for the 28-day series. Hey everybody, welcome to the 28-day series celebrating Black History Month through Black women entrepreneurs. And with me today is Tiara and Blessing. Thank you guys for coming out in this weather. Halifax this morning, we woke up with some snow. And you guys still showed up and, still apply. I'm just gonna ask, a question, and you can just answer it the best way you know how. How important it is inclusivity to you as a Black woman entrepreneur in the Maritimes?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. So my brand is DB Pearls Designs, and for me, inclusivity means carrying everyone along. Yeah. So, for example, I do tell people my brand is all about blending bit of Africanness into our designs, and we want to actually see more non-Blacks wear our brand. We believe that will actually bring about more integration. Absolutely. It will make Black people feel among, as well as the white. It's a major part of my brand. I want to see that inclusivity, I want to see integration, and I want people to feel that they belong. Yeah.
It's true. When she says that, it's true, because when she mixes her textures, her patterns, textiles, when it comes to Blessing, I find that she really pushes for all cultures to wear it. Yes. I am African Nova Scotian. I'm a Black woman from Nova Scotia, but I am not from, her country, continent. And I still be rocking out Blessings in Fumi's clothing, because it just makes me feel inclusive. Yes. And I would like to see that too, because I find once we have everybody wearing these patterns, it becomes mainstream, number one. Mm-hmm. And they're now, it's like us Black people always purchasing Gucci and Prada and Fendi and all that. But when we start having clothing like you make,
designed for us, yeah.
And those people who are not us purchase it like we purchase those name brands, it comes back to our community. So it's really important. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Tiara, what about you? How important is inclusivity to you as a Black business owner?
I would say that my brand offers a lot of urban and modern and casual styles. I just really feel that my brand includes a lot of us. It caters to men, it caters to women, it caters to plus size kids. And I feel that my brand fits up a need to have some urban, casual, comfy clothes. There's not many Black brands that are out here, I feel, in the Maritime. So it is important for me to feel that I have a little something for everyone that makes everybody feel comfortable, stylish, something that everyone feels involved and important. So I really take pride in making people feel as good as they look. So I feel
you do, because your brand, what I like about her brand, Go Get Hers, is I'm a Black woman. I'm all about making money. And I'm not ashamed of saying I want to make profits. I want to take that bag home every day. I'm not in business to make friends, to be popular. I'm in business to make money. So when I see her logo and you have that little money with it, right? I'm just like, that is me. So whenever I wear something that, Tiara makes with Go Get Hers, it really makes me feel empowered as a Black woman who is all about the money.
And not even just money, like go-getters means it's a female who eagerly goes after what is desired. It doesn't have to be money, anything like that. It could be like chasing success, your dreams. It doesn't just have to be money. It's anyone who's just chasing after something, they're going to get it. But yes, money, they're going to get it, but just going to get it. She's going to get hers, he's going to get his, like just going towards what you want and pursuing it, and just that motion of always moving forward or going towards it, so.
Yeah, it's a brand that I stand behind. I enjoy wearing it. And, my daughter, she's 16, my youngest, and she likes it too. So to see a 16-year-old wear it, and I'm 42, it's like we can all wear it. You know what I mean? I had, with Blessing, you're transitioning, and with your clothing from the shirts, now you're going into more of everyday wear to dresses and,
more office wear.
Yes. Like I noticed that, and even with your purses, like it went from little small clutches or little bags on your shoulder to now laptop bags, and like my purse I got from you,
Was
both
that
of them.
the purse you got?
Yes.
That was given Dior vibes. I need
Yes,
one of those.
let me tell
That's
you.
you. I was given Dior vibes.
That's
I
her.
need one of those. Those are beautiful. I seen that.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
like,
The good thing about the purse is that you can carry it for any occasion.
You should see
that
it.
looked
It's
so
so
nice. That
packed.
looked like high fashion. Like I was
It
like,
was.
that is a luxury bag.
And I wasn't
need one of
home when
those.
she dropped it off. So when I came home, my daughter was like, "Oh, Mom, Blessings dropped something off." And I was like, "Okay." She told me she was coming. So I seen this little bag, and I was like, "Okay, I'll look at it in the morning." And I come downstairs. I said, "Zaria, is this what?" She said, "Yeah, Mom. I told you she dropped it off." I was like, I was in tears.
seen it. I was
and then
like,
I seen
that's beautiful.
DWIE. So that purse is, I don't have it today. I would have my Michael Kors purse today. But it's so packed up with a laptop, pens, papers, notepads, my wallet, like, that's an everyday purse.
Yes, the tote. It's a tote shape.
It is.
The tote's the everyday, and
And
like
and
that
it's
is the everyday
structured.
bag. And it's
so that's going to be my
space.
travel bag too when I go on the plane, because it's perfect for everything. For
I need a go-getter's one. I definitely need one. I'm
so
putting
your
in the
transition
ordering.
is great. I've been watching since you started, and I love it. I love what I see. I can't wait to see what 2023 brings both of you guys, actually.
I'm really expectant as well, because I have a lot of in-betweens last year. It wasn't really a smooth journey for me, but it was a great year compared to the year before. So I'm kind of making more deliberate decisions this year. For example, I just I'm moving into a space, like a proper space.
Oh, give me a hug. Oh my God, another Black woman, brick and mortar, yes, yes.
It's gonna be a shared space because I can't
doesn't matter.
afford
Doesn't matter.
for me for now, but I'm so glad I'm moving out of my home.
Yes.
And it's, to
That's
me
a big
now,
move.
it's for me, I feel that for now, it's gonna be like a business for me. Yeah, because I've been doing it not really that way before now. So now that I'm moving into a space, I know I'm going to my business space. I'm going to my office. So I'm going to
I love
treat it
it.
more like a business now, yeah. So more intentional decisions this year.
Oh my goodness, congrats. And it's huge. And I get really excited and emotional when I see, Black women doing these things and making these moves, because I've been in business 10 years with one of my businesses. And, I have 3 of them, and not one of my businesses do I have a brick and mortar. I just didn't see, all my businesses are basically service providing and whatnot. So I can operate out of my home. But when I see a Black woman, take the next step to open a brick and mortar shared space or not, you're still paying in that rent, girl. You end up cultivating, a culture for other Black women to strive to do the same thing you're doing. So that's huge. 2023 is the year for everybody to make it and do it.
I believe so.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I don't even know what to say besides congratulations. And I can't wait to see what 2024 is going to bring.
Honestly, you've been an inspiration for me. Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks.
I do tell my husband, I said, one of the persons I look to, that I strive to meet up to and possibly do better than is Tia.
Absolutely.
Because she keeps pushing those things, those doors that you think is very difficult to enter, and she keeps entering it, breaking forth and all that. Yeah, so you're an inspiration.
And I'm glad that you said you want to be better than me, because I say it to a lot of people, don't aspire to be me, be yourself, and just move past where I'm at. For me, anybody I look up to, I don't want to be like them. I'm Tia. I want to be better than them. No, you did it this year. I'm going to do it better next year. So I want you to look at me the same way. But I appreciate it. And I haven't seen your husband in a while. So I can't wait till the pop-up shop start happening again so I can see his face. Her husband's very supportive in her mission and her business. So, kudos. Any last words, Tia or Missy? Missy, sorry. Oh, I'm thinking about Missy. Blessing, any last words?
No, just the same with what she's saying about you. Me and you just met last year, but me, I always want to. I was that's the woman I need to be around. I need to sit with her. She's the one who's going to help me learn. And I was just in the last cohort with her, and I'm saying from she can tell you from the time we started, I couldn't even properly form a sentence. Now I got my business plan, my marketing plan, financial projections. I'm everything. If you want to start from zero, you need to go to her, because I just thought, I told you, it was an online yard sale, me selling stuff. I always was saying, it's just online, I can sell clothes very easy. No. And for the last 2 years, I've been doing good, but it's just been a struggle getting that business aspect and doing it properly and running it. And you've helped me so much, and thank you.
Oh, it's a big difference.
I'm so excited.
You should have met her the first day.
And now, like, even, you know, her terminology is different.
Remember, I wouldn't do nothing without my mom before. Yeah. Like, my mom would be sitting out there with me right now waiting. Like, but no, it's been such a journey. I loved it so much. Even the cohort, meeting everyone, being around other people in business, it's like a sisterhood. I love it. Everyone's so supportive. You get to see, like, people growing, like, breaking barriers, like, doing their launches. It's such a good feeling just seeing everyone do good.
It is good feeling.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate everything.
Of course, anytime. Well, thank you guys for joining me today.
No worries.
And like I said, I can't wait to see what 2023-24 brings everybody, and especially you too. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And like you always say, it's a good day to be a Black woman.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Hey everybody, welcome to the 28-day series celebrating Black History Month through Black women entrepreneurs. Joining me today is Deidre, Missy, and Fumi. Thank you guys for coming out, especially during this weather here in Halifax today. I am very, very, very excited to jump into this conversation piece. I left this for last because I know this group would be able to nail it. So I kind of have two questions in one, but they're two separate questions, but I know that you guys be able to do this. What can financial institutions and or organizations do to support Black women in business besides the obvious? We don't want to talk about capital. What other things can they do?
I can start. I think it's more of the financial education, because I was discussing with someone the other day. I'm like, hopefully, years to come, a lot of Black businesses does not like die, because it's not just about disbursing all these funds, it's about giving them that financial knowledge. Mm-hmm. Because you give them these funds and you're not giving them the education they need. Yeah. So it's more of the financial education alongside giving the funds.
Yeah, and I was speaking with someone yesterday and they had asked the same question, and I had said that we also need to put the terminology in layman's terms, not this highbrow straight out of your master's with your business administration. No, let's make it so people can understand what they're doing, how are they spending it, where are they, dispersing it, what is a credit, what is a debit. Like, let's keep it at that level instead of being so highbrow.
I'll just build on what you're saying there, Missy. So with the educational piece too, not only does it have to be broken down in layman's terms, but it needs to be spoken from like an Afrocentric point of view. If you're dealing with our community, you need to talk to our people the way that we understand the language to be spoken to us. So you need to be able to interpret it and break it down so that we understand it the way we speak to each other. One of the other things that they could do to help our communities out is the mentoring, support our businesses as well. If you know our businesses are out there, take a trip and come visit one of our stores and show your support. Yes. If you know of any Black bankers or women of color business advisors or people with more clout, no matter which background they're from, get them to come out and support our businesses too, not just as us as your client in the bank. Yes. But the mentoring is a big piece too.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well, earlier I did say this, and I'm glad both of you guys pointed this out. I appreciate your comment too, but you guys both pointed out about the terminology. And I said this on an earlier segment with a group of other women, that I just had this conversation with having someone publish a terminology manual that I'm going to create. Most of it's already done. And it's basically, I'm not going to say from an Afrocentric point of view, it's basically how I speak. How people from my community, Black people, Black folk, how we talk, will have the correct term. And then here is how they would understand it. So when you're going into a bank or you're talking to an investor or you're pitching your business, you'll get to understand the terminology. If they ask you questions, you'll be like, oh, how much money do I need? What is your capital requirement? So that is something that is well needed here because the education piece is not there.
Yeah, and when you're looking at adult learning principles, their documentation on some of the, financial institutions. I've gone through and I've looked at some of their documentation, and it is not written with adult education principles in line at all.
I don't think it's been rewritten probably 15, 20 years. I don't know. Some of it just looks like it's just verbiage that's been copied and pasted from year after year after year.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And not only that, there's the piece, there's also the piece where you have, you can look at some of the language that they use at the banks, and this is the language that has come from, again, like you mentioned, a Eurocentric point of view. It's not our language, right? So it's you need to talk about it the way we talk about it. And so yeah, your book, your dictionary is going to be, your manual is going to be well needed.
It's
well
needed. Teapedia.
Oh my God! And I do it because all these initiatives I continuously do is because I see the needs, and no one is addressing them.
Not all of us have a grade 12. Not all of us have a bachelor's degree, and if we do, it might not be in business. So we may not have learned any of those terminologies. You might have some people who are science buffs or arts buffs, and so you can't assume all of us coming from this or doing this. A lot of our small business startups are from folks in our communities who have hustled in their past lives. Yes. So they have the street skills and the common sense smarts and the money smarts, but they don't have that language, that financial institution smart or the academic smart. So there needs to be a bridge that they can build through it, and that's something that the banks could support when the Teapedia comes out.
Not Teapedia. Right? Oh, I like that, Teapedia. Oh my gosh.
Like Wikipedia.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I like that. I'm gonna have to write that down.
Yeah, take it.
It is very important, and like you said, I worked with artists last year through Common Good Solutions. So a lot of the people that came through the African Nova Scotian entrepreneurship program there, they were artists, and the basic terms they just didn't know because that's not their background. Right. They want to take their artistic, traits and their skills and attributes turn into, a stream of income. Yes. But they didn't understand any of that. So I had to start from scratch. I had to start from scratch with, here's the basic terminologies that you need to understand.
Well, and it also has to go into grade 10 math, that terminology, because if we are wanting to create generational wealth in our community as well, it also needs to be part of the school's curriculum so that even if the parent doesn't know the terminology, their child who's 15, 16, and 17 might be able to explain it because it's now thrown into curriculum.
It's true. It's true.
Or maybe there's a way that the banks could bridge some of this education that they have into the school curriculum. So if the school doesn't want to build into their curriculum, maybe they could make the effort to go out to Black communities in particular schools, or have sessions that are just for Black people to go to high schools in particular and give optional education sessions. Do you want to learn about banking? Do you want to learn about building credit and the terminology? And then at least you're introducing it to them at a young age before credit becomes that devil temptation that a lot of our people in our community get when they hand you out those first credit cards when you're 18 and you don't know anything about it.
You're getting all kinds of phones in your name. All kinds of phones that you ain't paying. You're going to get another phone company and you're jumping around and you get that $500 credit card and you go, boom, one night, you're done with it, right? And then you're like, I don't got to pay it back because you don't understand that payback system.
Or you're just paying.
No, girl, we ain't just paying. We ain't paying it back. Yeah, thank you, teacher. We just ain't paying it back. No,
I'm just saying that $25 a month.
Yeah, no, we ain't doing that. We're getting credit card after credit card, and ain't paying it back. And then when you're in your 30s and you're trying to buy a home, you're screwed.
Right, and we don't realize that. Right, so it's like that long vision, right? So if some of these bankers could come out to the communities, whether they do community sessions, whether they do it in the schools, this could be another way that they're giving back. Give some of these educational sessions and send out people of color, please, if you're going to Black or Indigenous communities, please send out some representation so we can trust what you're saying and know that what you're saying is that you act, and send out people who care too, people who want to give back. We do have allies who care, but send them in, like, send people who look like us with an ally, you know what I mean? Like send them, reach out. They always say they have these community initiatives, but you don't actually really see them in the communities physically. This is a way they could do it.
Yes.
Well, financial literacy. Oh, what's DJ over here breaking up Israel stuff? Oh my God. No, that's all right. It's authentic. We're just sitting around the table talking. We keep it real with T and BWIE. You know, financial literacy it's painful. People don't, when they hear that financial lit, they don't want to deal with it. When I say we have to do a 3-year financial projection, they don't want to deal with it. It is painful and it is annoying, but once you conquer it, you understand it, it becomes so much more fun that you can see where you can push your business to.
I think it's sexy.
I wouldn't go as far as saying sexy
I'm
at
gonna
this
say,
point.
I think it's sexy. And the reason I say that is when you look back and you look at your bank account getting bigger and bigger, that is freaking sexy.
I don't know if I want to say sexy.
Oh, I
don't know. I mean, look at the bank account. Yeah, I guess. But what goes into getting that there and understanding it. No, I would just say it's fun.
Rewarding. Trying to think of other words.
She said joy. What is your answer to that, Fumi, with regards to organizations? What can we do to support Black women in business or Black businesses in general?
You mean what organizations can do?
Yeah, what can any organization, doesn't have to be BWIE, but what would you like to see as an entrepreneur yourself? What do you long for that's not being, done, assessed? We're not all here doing it.
Honestly,
Yeah. Well, the thing is I don't think that you're not out here doing it. I think what has to happen is you need to have the funds and the opportunities to be able to do more.
Well, that's true too, yeah.
Like you can only do what you are financed to do. I mean, we're competing with banks, but as Black business women, I'd like to say that since COVID, this has been the most inspirational time for me as a woman in business. Being able to share the skills that I do have. I don't profess to be.
No, that's sexy. That's sexy.
I don't profess to be the be-all and end-all, of course, in business education at all, but I'd like to say that what I've learned between the organizations that I've worked for, that I should be able to take that and share that with my community to make those in my community stronger business women.
Good answer. Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. It's almost like a recycling thing.
Teach one.
Yeah, even with the mentorship initiatives through BWIE, when you get a mentor, that's great. You work with your mentor, but then when you're, a year or two into business, I expect you to come back through as a mentor. You're no longer a mentee. And it keeps going, and all the information that, not just myself, but other organizations put out there to support Black businesses and Black women in business, that you put out there to your households, your children, your family members, your community. If you see someone trying to do a business or they're struggling on certain things with social media or anything, just reach out to them and say, hey girl, I see you're trying to do your thing, but try it this way, or here's an avenue you should go, or here's a website, or there's some funding. Yes. There's a grant that just came out, this will be perfect for you. Don't try to hoard it. I find that in the Black community, it's like there's not enough positions up top. So when people get up top, they forget about the people that they need to reach down to and bring out with them because they're scared to lose that top position, for whatever reason. Me, I can be at the bottom. I don't give a damn. I'm still gonna do what I'm doing. I'm happy at the bottom of the barrel, and I'm happy to be there. And for me, you know, I haven't even reached where I want to reach professionally, you know, in my professional realm. But even where I'm at now, I make sure that I bring people along. Like I find that the Black community just doesn't do that enough, and organizations don't either.
Well, you were doing your sewing, you know, you were teaching people your skills.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about teaching people your skills as a doula. This is what we're supposed to be doing. This is ancestral, you know, so.
Well, I will say this because you brought up about Fumi about doing her sewing. That was last year, right? Black History Month, libraries. That's one thing I would say about organizations need to start doing. Stop having initiatives and having money there, and then people get approved for the money and making them wait. Because right now, there's money out there for Black History Month, and this is, you know, a week into January. Yep. Fumi, or anybody else, but I'm gonna say Fumi, if she wanted to do that cooking class again, that money should already been allotted to her by now, so she can get her ducks in a row to be able to successfully facilitate another cohort.
I'm actually already talking with them.
No, but you should have the money by now. No, honest to God, we're doing this segment for Black History Month. Yeah. This is being filmed today, but this is going on for Black History Month. And Israel was really, you know, saying we're gonna do it now because we need to work on it and get it finished to come out February 1st. So it shouldn't be we're in conversation. The MOU should be done. Everything should be done. You should be getting your money in the next week or two. And so you can get so you want to be the best version of yourself. But when you're being rushed because you're waiting on that financial money, and it's not even their money, let the money go. So when organizations hold on to this money like this and make people wait for payment, that's, I think, needs to change, and organizations need to stop doing that.
So I would just say that I just quickly want to say something like in respect to that. I think what the library does is they need to get the people interested. Like they need to know the number of people interested. You know, it's just a process.
November, December.
So it's not even calling them out, it's just calling out any organization.
Because I work at the library. Like the library funded me to do 28-day series last year. And mine was seamlessly done quick.
No, but it's not even calling them out. It's organizations, period.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to call out an organization I'm working under right now, but, you know, I'm working ahead of payment. I'm working 4 weeks ahead of payment.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
And it shouldn't be that way, but the client is expecting the work to be done.
Yeah, it's not fair to them.
Yeah, so organizations have that money or they wouldn't approach you in the first place to actually facilitate that position. So even if you don't get to use it in February, okay, we can use it in March. We have March break. We could use it in April. It doesn't matter. They still have the funds. The funds are there. They have to spend the funds before 31st of March.
Yeah, every organization.
Every single organization.
Every one of us. We have March 31st, we have to get rid of money.
Everybody.
And, you know, and making people wait because it's just, I find it defeating. For me as a CEO of Black Women in Excellence, when I'm dealing with funders, and I am, you know, getting pushed back and holding back from money and whatnot, but you want me to facilitate a program, it's like, I'm not doing it for free. I'm not doing it for free. And if I have someone else waiting on money, oh, it's even worse, because I'm the middleman. So when someone else is waiting on money and they're bothering me, and I shouldn't say bothering, because it's their money. It's their money, and they deserve the money. So when that happens, oh my Heavenly Father, I get irate because I'm like, why am I getting pushback? Just give me the bloody money.
Yeah.
Don't say you're gonna write a check. Just you have the direct deposit, just give me the money. So I find organizations need to be more streamlined when it comes to Black businesses or businesses in general, accessing these funds that are, as we say, segregated for us. It needs to be better streamlined so that we can really properly facilitate. If you want to do something for Black History Month or International Women's Month in March, you would want to have that money now to get your ducks in a row, bring in your you know, what you need to do, get your materials, and facilitate a program on, you know, doula, being a Black doula in Nova Scotia. But you can't do that if you have 3 weeks notice.
No, it's not enough time.
No, it's not enough time.
The other thing I find with organizations, and particularly with Black organizations locally, is that a lot of them, there's some elitism in there involved, so they'll always reach out and only contact or give the contracts or the funding to their besties, right, or their best buddies, or the people that they know in their close little, you know, their circle. And that's not how we're supposed to do it. It needs to be evenly promoted, equally distributed. That's how you bring your whole community up. It's like you said, when some folks get to the top, they're so afraid of an invisible threat of people who are down here coming up and potentially taking their positions, instead of reaching out and making sure that the folks at the bottom have equal access to the same opportunities they do.
Absolutely, bingo.
But the elitism is real in our community, and that is a problem. So we need to, that needs to be, you know, done away with. Like, people got to get over.
It's 2023, and that definitely needs to be you put away with.
Support youth.
When anyone comes through BWIE, and Missy can testify to this, I don't even look at any applications for, you know, a retreat, a pitch competition. I have nothing to do with it. I want to be a fair choice. And even when the 28-day series, it wasn't so I'm going to pick Fumi because I've been known Fumi for 10 years, or Missy because Missy's consulted with me, or Deidre because she was just in a cohort with me. I open it up for everybody. All you have to do is register and apply. And, you know, I do have people that I'm closer with, of course, but I'm not going to pick those same people every single time. So I make it a point, if I feel like the same people are applying to, you know, an event or a retreat or a pop-up shop, I will start pushing out there other places saying, hey, I know you just started a business, come to this event. Because I don't want it to be what you just said. I don't, it doesn't look good. It just, you know, you got favoritism, and it's not nice for people who are new coming in as Black women in business. If Fumi was new coming in, she'd be like, oh, I'm not gonna go to that because it's the same girls and I'm not gonna fit in.
You will stand on the outside and you won't go back. You don't understand that you're actually welcome, right?
It's true. You're out, and you don't even, for me, I know there's certain organizations that, you know, primarily deal with Indigenous Black individuals or immigrant Black individuals. With BWIE, I don't care if you're an immigrant or if you're an Indigenous, if you're a Black woman, come chill with us, come hang out, come to a networking event, come to a pop-up shop, you know, join it, because at the end of the day, we are all still Black women. When we walk down the street, I think it was Ann Devine who said it on a podcast I seen on TikTok, actually. When you go down the street and there's a group of white people and, you know, there's 3 Indigenous Black Nova Scotians and 2 immigrants, those white people are not going to say, oh, that's a Nova Scotian Indigenous and that's an immigrant. They're going to say, that's all Black women.
Yeah, that's it.
We are all still Black people. Yeah. So the more we get used to that, the better, and the easier the transition is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just having the right mindset, it will even further deepen the relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
No, and it's 100% true. And like, Fumi, I'm just going to say this, that years ago, we probably would not have an African Nova Scotian woman and an Indigenous Nova Scotian woman sitting side by side to have an interview talking about women in business, because we intersegregated. You know, so that's what's so inspiring now as we move forward in 2023, that we are realizing that we all need to support each other and be here for each other.
Stop allowing the government to divide us. That's what's happening. Oh, I heart. Anybody got any last words on, you know, what we can all do or what financial institution or organizations can do? Any last words?
Be fair.
Fumi?
I'm short of words.
Deidre?
Be equitable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Inclusivity is a must.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's a perfect word. Yeah.
Well, thank you, ladies, for joining me today, and I can't wait for this to be put out there to celebrate Black History Month with all of us Black women entrepreneurs. Thank you.